Yo. All right, we're live. Good morning, Onion Lake, Danse, Tatam Scott Nawa, Kakyo. Wish you all a good morning and a good day. So welcome back to another episode of our coffee talk. I have Mitch, Sonja, Bryan, and myself. Um, and I think there's a lot to talk about. The big thing right now is the band meeting yesterday. We were there, we were set up, we were able to take in all the action. So I think we'll touch on that a little bit this morning. Just things we observed or whatever witnessed or picked up along the way yesterday. I think overall it was well attended for sure. There was a lot of people. 7 Gen, we were set up at the past 3 band meetings, and the one yesterday compared to the other 2, I think was like the attendance was up and engagement was up, and I think overall it was a healthy discussion all around. There wasn't the emotions weren't too high, and we were able, or the meeting was able to be was able to flow in a smooth way with some healthy discussion. And so yeah, we'll get into that a little bit. We do have a little bit of updates regarding that unofficially. I have the agenda here on my desk. I'm looking at the big one I know out there is cows and plows or agricultural benefits. So we'll provide a little update on that. Also the other specific claims. There's annuities, which will be activated today, and another one. What's the other one? Haylands, and then there's a fourth one that's forthcoming too. But yeah, so we'll get into that here in a bit. But I think for now we'll just have a little roundtable, just opening comments. We'll start to my right over here to Mr. Misto, and then we'll come around this way. And we have a new young lady joining us this morning, so we'll kind of have a little discussion with her as well. So with that, we'll go to Mr. Bryan.
Morning, everybody. Holy, gotta get that coffee moving. Morning, everybody. Welcome to the 7 Gen podcast studios again. I don't know what to say here. Let's talk about, I don't know. Man, I'm still sleepy.
Yeah, just good morning. Wish everyone good morning.
Yeah. Next, yeah.
All right. Hi. Go to Mitch.
Good morning, Onion Lake. Mitch Lewis. Y'all know me. Still waking up. Still kind of tired. First cup of coffee's done. Probably need a second. Hope you're all going to have a good day today. We got a lot going on this week. We got the, what's that called? The treaty thing going on at the Power Grounds there.
Culture
Camp. Should be starting off here pretty soon today. Hope you all have a good day.
Oh, welcome to the young lady over here.
Good morning.
Yeah. So this rule of thumb, like you have to talk close to the mic. So if you can, like 2 inches, like this, and you could get comfortable, move around, like you could move it around like this, right? The important thing is audio for the listeners. So this, like for me, I have to talk really close to get the message out there, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So
good morning. I'm Sonja Lewis. My first day here.
yeah. Welcome aboard. Welcome. Yeah, it's nice to have you here with us. So I think with that, we'll get into the band meeting, and then we'll get into the culture camp, and then announcements for future events coming up. So band meeting. I want to open up the floor. I know we all have our own perspectives and observations from yesterday. So I'll open up the floor. Whoever wants to go first, just what you guys noticed or what kind of stood out for you guys, or just however you want to go with it. I think part of what we'll try to do this morning is try to inform the listeners of kind of what took place yesterday based on just like our perspective. So floor is open.
I blinked out after the cows and plows.
Cousin Plaza was a big topic. I think there was a lot of people talking about it, wanting to know information. But I think the information is that everything got put on hold because of a federal election and stuff like that. So the information that they gave out last night was we'll know more when they know more. So it's kind of like that's where it's at. But I mean, I saw, what is that display there, man? That was an awesome display.
The
Crazy.
Riverside project.
Crazy
or something like
display. Yeah. So like there's gonna be like I don't know, some infrastructure there, golf course. Like, that was the biggest thing, man. I couldn't take my eyes off that little
that.
part there.
Mine was the Popeyes.
The Popeyes,
Yeah.
Tim Hortons
Popeyes.
Popeyes.
Tim Hortons go karts.
I didn't see any KFC little flags there though. So
Mine was the motel.
Oh,
the
the
motel.
motel.
Just trying to move away.
PC. I added PC on that little display there.
There's even a strip mall, outlet mall. What else is there? The new family services building was over there.
A huge multiplex.
Multiplex
Oh,
with
yeah.
two ice rinks, 3 courts for like basketball, badminton, volleyball,
Yeah,
swimming pool, and a big indoor track.
that was a sick display, man.
Yeah.
Hot tub, water slide. Oh man, awesome display. I tripped out on that when I seen it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, so for the golf course out there, for the listeners, I was talking to Kyle yesterday on one of the breaks and during the smoke break or health break. And yeah, so that display yesterday, I don't know where it is. It might still be over there, or it might be in the chambers or somewhere. But there's Riverside developments being worked on or proposed. It was shared yesterday at the band meeting for the people that were in attendance. They had the opportunity to go see the the display. It's probably the size of this table, and they had everything in little like mapped out. And I think part of the design that is being proposed right now is a 9-hole golf course on the Alberta side of the river across the Red Teepee Monument coming up, and then another 9-hole course on the Saskatchewan side around where that Red Teepee is. And then so that'll make up an 18-hole golf course. And yeah, it'll be the first like
Cross province
yeah,
golf course.
yeah. So that's a cool idea.
Probably even one of the like a first one that's split by a highway like that.
Yeah.
Wonder if they're gonna have like a gondola or
Maybe some kind of
An overpass,
Bridge, yeah.
overpass.
or I don't know, something.
Well, I guess it's cool because people can say they golfed in Alberta and Saskatchewan at the same time, right?
Yeah.
That's cool.
There's gonna be a hotel and Tim Hortons and what was the other one? KFC.
Popeyes.
No,
Popeyes.
there's no KFC flag there.
There's a multiplex
And there's a bunch of little developments on the side there that like they must be just for future reference. They didn't really put any ideas up to what they could have been, but they could be anything. Anything could be there, like it's future planning. So I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm excited for the go-karts.
Oh yeah, go-karts there. One thing I was looking at that thing yesterday, the buffalo.
Hmm.
I couldn't tell, like, are we building around the buffalo? Are we relocating the buffalo? Or
Well, it
I
kinda
wasn't able to see that.
Kind of looked like they were gonna relocate them,
Yeah.
because right by the road is where they had that multiplex right in the middle of that Buffalo area. So.
Right around there.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. um, yeah. Anything else on that?
No.
It's exciting
think-
stuff.
Yeah, so for the viewers out there, there's a display. I don't know where it is. You'll have to call Kyle or the band office, or if we find out, we'll make an announcement. But it's something worth checking out. Huge project for Onion Lake, and I think a huge step forward for our kids and our youth, for programming and just providing a space for growth in a healthy way. Cool idea, really awesome. Excited to see where that goes. So I think with that we'll move on to the next topic. What else was there yesterday? Cow and plow. I'll talk about that a little bit. So just for the viewers out there, I know cows and plows is a big thing for a lot of us, and there was a lot of good discussion yesterday, a lot of healthy discussion from the floor and from the leadership table. So I think the main thing, number one, is the process of the claim. There's back and forth, there's timelines, and right now where the process is at is Canada. There was a negotiation that took place, and the number that was originally landed on was less than what Onion Lake is asking for. There was a little bit back and forth, and how that number is determined is they have a formula. There's a specific land claim formula from the government, and the big one in there is population. And according to that, Onion Lake qualifies for more than what the ceiling is according to the government. So the number being negotiated is above that, and we all know this. And yeah, so Onion Lake responded with a number, and then so that's where it's at. Onion Lake responded. The ball is in the government's court right now. Onion Lake is waiting for a response. There was no timeline given, and like Bryan said, there was an election, a federal election. We all know that took place here just recently, so that kind of stalled everything and delayed everything. And so that's where it's at right now. And I know a lot of people keep asking, like, where's it at, or when are we getting it, and this and that. And I think we all know that it's a step-by-step process, and right now that's where it's at. So the ball's in their court, so there's nothing more Onion Lake can do right now to force anything or to speed anything up. It's just we just all have to be patient. So that's that. The other point, I guess, yesterday that came up for discussion that I think is really important for all of us to understand is what's at stake regarding this agreement. And we all know that there are a lot of bands that signed this agreement from Treaty 8 and different treaty territories, Treaty 6 even. And the implications for signing the agreement, if you're not careful and looking at the fine print, it is like the million dollar question is, what's the cost for settling on an agreement like this? You guys have any recollection on the discussion around that, or any thoughts around that?
Hmm. Hmm. I think like when they talked about that, there was like it didn't really get into any detail about what was at stake. It just kind of stayed kind of like right there, like what's at stake. And then I didn't really catch anything on that part. Maybe I wasn't in the building when that answer or that question was called out.
Yeah, no, that's a good point, because the reality of the situation is a lot of these discussions and what's on the table, you know, a lot of it in reality, it goes over a lot of our heads, including me. If you're not aware, if you're not in these discussions with like the people, like technicians and legal and things like that, it's hard to kind of wrap your head around the whole kind of situation. um and and I think one of the reasons for like having a studio like this is to provide a space for education and learning for those of us that are maybe not aware of the like full scope of the situation, what's at stake. um yeah, so I think we all know, we all heard this many times, the treaties are like on the table with this agreement, and we all have our own interpretations of that. I've heard people say like the treaties are not tied to this, they're separate. I don't know why we're stalling, we should just sign. Another one I hear is all we're asking for is what's owed to us from the time of treaty till now. Like that's another one, a common one that I hear out there.
Yeah.
I think the reality of the situation is, like this whole thing, it's so huge and massive that it could be interpreted in a lot of different ways, which is what we're all doing as grassroots people, as band members, like even me, right? Like for my baby, like we all want what's best for our kids, right? And then we could all use that money. But so I think part of the discussion yesterday was the treaties, and the reality and the fact that the treaties are what's at stake with this agreement. And people may ask how, and it's the wording in the agreement, the fine print. And we all heard these words, indemnify. um there's a couple other ones I can't remember. But just for the viewers, side note, treaty governance is going to be doing a series on this, including a bunch of other different topics and guest speakers. So we'll be able to get into depth into these discussions in a more technical, formal way, as they are on the front lines with this whole initiative. But so I think with that, yeah, like I've seen this agreement one time originally in the beginning when it came to Onion Lake, and then I did read that the government, what the government is saying is we'll agree to give you the full amount according to the limitations or the parameters in the land or the specific claim process. We'll give you 100% of what's eligible, but in exchange, you gotta give us, in the wording of the government, indemnify the government of all future fiduciary obligations. So again, that could be interpreted in different ways, but I think essentially what it means is yeah, like the treaty rights we received, the health care, the medicines, um, XYZ. They and this is a part of the bigger picture, the bigger plan from the government side. The assimilation process is pretty much what they're saying is we'll give you this amount in exchange, sign this agreement, and you release us of all future financial obligations that are owed to you guys through the treaty. It doesn't say it in those exact words, but that's what they're saying. And like I said, like a lot of us who don't know or haven't been around the language or the elders or the old people, it's hard for us to wrap our head around that when we always see is the black and white writing and not what's on the other side of that behind the scenes from the government side. They have objectives, and that's to terminate our treaties because to them it's a burden. Not only that, but they want to it's a part of they want to make us a fourth level government. These are all words that we hear out there. First level of government would be the federal government. Second level would be provincial. Third level would be municipal. And then fourth level would be us. That's the angle with all of this stuff, And a lot of us don't realize that, like, what's at stake here. For me, let's say we sign this and in 20 years time our kids, my baby or whoever are gonna have to pay for medication, gonna have to pay for this and like everything. We're gonna have to pay taxes. So at the end of the day, like let's say we get 50K, for example, out of this settlement. You'll be paying that back through taxes, through medication, through healthcare, through dental, whatever else over time. If it's not you gonna be paying it, then it'll be the kids and the grandkids, right? So there's a cost to this. And I'm not trying to be controversial and I'm not trying to speak for anybody. I'm just speaking for myself, my own observation, my own opinion. But I think it's important to highlight the cost or to the thought to start thinking, what's the cost to signing an agreement like this? Another discussion that came up last night was the amount. So I think I one part I missed yesterday was on the provincial level or the federal level, the annual revenue from either one of those governments is 100 billion. And that's based on billion or million?
Billion. I think it was billion, but I think that was coming from the energy sector paid up to the government.
101 billion. I have it here.
Yeah.
It was coming from the natural resources from the land.
Yeah.
So if you, again, it's all about interpretation, right? And we all say that this is our land. We were here first. We were put here. The newcomers came, and then you look at the annual revenue. Let's say 100 billion by the province, for example. I could be wrong. You'll have to research this. Could be federal, but let's say 100 billion from the province of Saskatchewan, and they're trying to give us 50K a piece to sign cow and plow to release them of responsibility or admission of guilt to the processes that took place over time, whether it's genocide or assimilation or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, and you look at all the development across the land, all of it comes from the natural resources and the revenue. And let's say you eliminate money from the equation, or you take it for what it is, which is a piece of paper. You set that to the side. What makes this country's so great or what it is, and the infrastructure and the equipment we're using, the building we're in, the roads, the highways, everything. That all had to come from somewhere. In the world of accounting, they call, and like when I went to school, we kind of looked at this. In the world of accounting, they call that raw material. So you're calculating the raw material. So raw material, you take the oil, is X amount of liters. This is the quantity. This is how much trees you got. This is how much gravel you got. This is how much this and this and this and this. Before you can monetize that, what is it? It's this raw material is what it is, right? And then that's where the development comes in and everything like that. So, yeah. So like you look at the bigger picture, and the amount that they're offering the government for agricultural benefits and what they're asking for in return, which is to be indemnified of financial obligations or fiduciary obligations that are owed to First Nations people for agreeing to live in harmony and to coexist on the land. So the stakes are high. In reality, there's a bigger picture here. All they're showing us is this little piece, and then they're having us kind of fight over it, fight about it, creating division, creating pressure, creating stress, dangling a little carrot in front of us to have us running around and scrambling. And the bigger picture is the enemy here or whatever is not us, is not each other. It's the system. The system is designed to create division, and that's where we're at. And they're having us, and they're using money to have us like fight or whatever, fight each other and keep each other down. So I think I'll leave it at that for now. Open up the floor. In a nutshell, that's kind of what I could share. There's a lot more to talk about. But yeah, I'll leave it at that for now.
I think there's a quick, just real quick, bro. I think there's a kind of like a key point that was when you were talking about that $101 billion that came out or is getting pulled per year by the government, and then what they're trying to give back for, what is it, 4 bands? Was that number that was specified last night? I think 428 million or something like that. I think that's just a tiny little fraction of what government is pulling out of the resources out of the ground, and this going back for how long, you know what I mean? And then they're just trying to give you trying to chip you a quick little nickel there when they got this whole barrel full of loonies and toonies and stuff.
Yeah, and that's good that you mentioned that, because again, like, we're already at a disadvantage to begin with. Ever since the treaties were signed, we've been getting ripped off from day one, and we've been in survival mode ever since then, like even more so now. And they talked about that last night.
Yep.
The hardship that's coming, or that's been prophesied from the elders and the old people, were in those times. And like, it's by design, where the system is designed to keep us oppressed, and that gives them all the advantage over us. And we look at, there's 633 bands across Canada. And you look at the situations that we're in, we all know that we're the average like living standard of living on First Nation, 633 bands. I think the overall average would be below the official poverty line for what's identified in Canada's books.
Holy smokes, that's bad.
Yeah. So
Uh,
we're already in a position of weakness, and
Yeah.
then we're being put in positions to negotiate things that are tied to the treaty. And we're already in desperate situations. We're chronically underfunded in all our programs and departments. um, and every time they throw a bone, everyone starts fighting over it. And they get all the advantage in those situations. So it'll start a little fire over here, it'll start a little fire over there, a little fire over here, so that they're keeping us separated and we can't unite and, you know, put together a proper position. It's because of the poverty and the lack of funding. And it's a game, you know. And a lot of us don't realize it
It's a big
until
old
we
chess
start
match.
spending time in these circles with the old people and the leaders and ceremonies and listening to them talk about all of this stuff. Um, like on the one hand, I understand like we could all use that money. I could use that money, you know. It'll help. But you look at the short term, the midterm, and the long term with this. I don't think a lot of us can make it beyond the short term. Like in reality, like how long is that money gonna last? You know, maybe a month, maybe less. Buy a vehicle, buy a quad, buy pay some debt, pay whatever, right? And then after it's gone and all spent, and then what are we left with? We're back in the same situation where we're in living in desperation and in survival mode, um and fighting over the next bone from the government, you know. So there's a bigger picture. I think we all need to be aware of that. And we need to be patient, and we need to make sure the wording is correct in these agreements, that, you know, our position in this is we're not agreeing to what you're asking for, but we're agreeing to what you owe us, and you know, for future obligations, that's not up for discussion, you know, and it never will be. That's based on the treaty. For as long as the sun shines, grass grows, and rivers flow. So we have to be really careful here. And you look at 633 bands across Canada, including us, and they talked about this last night, the underfunding and our population, how big it is, and the demands that come with that, the responsibilities to be able to sustain a community and a nation, and in our kids and our unborn. um, you know, there's a lot at stake here. And I think our leadership right now, they want to make sure the wording is correct. So it's really hard to put a timeline on this whole process. Yeah, just there's a lot to consider.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are kind of overlooking that because you constantly hear them say they want it done faster. What's taking so long? Why is, you know, they're saying, why is it taking so long? But you have to realize they're doing their due diligence to make sure that exactly everything that you said, they're making sure everything's worded right. Because if they overlook something, if they get greedy and say, all right, we'll sign it, give us what we're owed, there could be something in there that they overlooked. You know, that's, they're trying their best to make sure everything is done the proper way, and they're looking out for not only us but the future generations. Those are the important ones moving forward, because we're gonna get we're gonna get this, and then what about the future? What happens to them? And I think it's really important that they keep working hard to try and look out for our future generations. And a lot of people don't really realize that. They don't realize what's going on behind the scenes. So I think it's really important that chief and council keep doing what they're doing, making sure, you know, everything is working out.
I think a lot of people are just kind of not even caring about what's going on behind the scenes, but they're like, hey, but you know, Frog Lake got their cousin plows,
Yeah.
all the surrounding communities got theirs, but why didn't we get ours? We should be in that same boat. But like it's like you guys said here, it boils all the way down to understanding like behind the black and white lettering,
Yeah.
on the other side of what is stated there on that piece of paper. Yeah.
Yeah. For the young lady, you have any thoughts around this? Like just as an outside perspective or just as something new? I don't know if you've been following this kind of stuff, but just based on this discussion, did it spark any thoughts in your mind or
It have. For someone who's been going to school for the past year and um, thinking about going out from the reserve, and with how the economy is like so high, if we were to just get that money and then spend it all in like 2 months and not have the help later on, it's still going to keep rising. And there's no way we can like come back home, ask for help for the treaties and everything. So we really have to do that. Think about that. Um, and with everybody who live off reserve and they're not really know what's happening on the reserve, I think that's a question that's gonna pop up soon.
Eventually it'll be out there, like other people are gonna speak up, and they'll be, I don't know if they'll be going onto a platform like this, or maybe they should, maybe we should, reach out to people and say, hey, what do you think about this, man? You want to come and talk about it? I mean, but a lot of people will probably be calling the band office with those questions, and asking the receptionist, when band, that's what band meetings are for, right? For topics of discussion like that, if they want information or something, they could come there and ask the proper channels, right? So yeah.
yeah, that's another big thing. Just for the viewers out there, I know a lot of people they want it live streamed or broadcasted. And there's um reasons why that can't happen, especially with an active claim. um you I don't know, it like confidentiality and things like that. So it's hard to find a balance for that. um that's why the emphasis is on physical attendance.
Hmm.
That's why there's a lot of cool, awesome, deadly door prizes every time. A lot of like an awesome meal that's provided. Again, the emphasis is on physically attending. And on the other hand, like I think we all know that that's not always possible, for whatever reason. So, but like Brian said, though, it is a time and place for questions, for discussions that like this, high level discussions. People who are seeking information, or else they have recommendations on positions, or things like that. It's part of the design for that is for engagement. For a band meeting, you have all chief and council there, and it allows healthy discussion to take place. And then like they were saying too last night, you can like set up appointments with chief and council or with senior admin. If you want to get more information, all you got to do is book an appointment with them, and they're open to having open discussions with everybody.
There's also like chief and council would go into the cities and they'll have band meetings out there. And what's missing is that it doesn't like everybody can't find out about those meetings. So maybe like one or two people show up to those meetings. Maybe if it was more posted about when they go to the cities.
Mhm. Yeah. That's a good point. And that's kind of part of the reason why we're here,
Yeah.
why this program's created, to help get information out, to raise awareness on things that are coming up that involve the community. Um, so, that's part of our mandate, is to try and raise that awareness, advertise, promote, get people engaged and locked in and participating and getting their voices heard, and just being a part of the whole uh, nation building for Onion Lake, right? So, yeah, so share our page, follow. Like, we're gonna be here. We're here now. We got formally introduced at the band meeting yesterday. So this program is here. It's here to stay. We're gonna be utilizing this space as much as we can to relay information, to raise awareness, to keep people informed, and yeah, just also to provide a place for people to engage with us, as a middleman. Like, you can comment on here, or you could phone in and we could have these discussions. Again, we don't speak for nobody. we all just speak for ourselves. I speak for myself. I don't represent nobody. These are my own observations and my own thoughts around topics that impact me and my kids, so I have an obligation, a responsibility to participate and help shape the future of our community, just like everybody else. Like, we're all a part of this. We're all in this together. We're all one big family. We need to put our differences aside. Like they always say, it's okay to disagree. It's a part of growth. And, as long as those conversations are healthy, I think everybody wins in the long run, especially our kids, right? How do you see things? How do I see things? And what makes the most sense, right? How far out do we want to look long term, or where do we find common ground? We want to cash out today. Do we want to benefit today? What about everyone else down the road?
Yeah.
Do we want to not entertain this? Like, what's our next alternative or next option, for the benefit of them down the road? So, a lot to think about, right? A lot of pros and cons, and a lot of things to weigh out, a lot of factors. It's not an easy topic. It's not an easy discussion. There's a lot of gray areas. It's not just black and white. So yeah, I think that's it for me. You guys have anything else regarding that cow and plow or agricultural benefits?
Not really, no. Not really anything to add on to it. Like, I mean, I don't really follow it to 100%, like, because I don't know. I just
Yeah.
trust the process, I trust that we're in good hands. So, I just,
Yeah, that's how I was too. I didn't really know a lot about it, but ever since I started working with this program and working with chief and council, getting to know more of it, it's kind of been really informative and helpful. I think that's one of the biggest things that opened my eyes, was hearing their side of it, hearing everything just right beside you. It's good. I think a lot of people can learn a lot if you were to come out here, come have a talk with us. It's really good.
Or else just to get involved with the community, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's where all the information is. And there's always opportunities. There's always, like, the door is always open for volunteers, or maybe like just to get involved, right?
Yeah.
And then that's where you'll be mingling with leadership and senior admin and everybody else. And you'll be able to have these types of discussions informally and gather information to help you with your own thought process and your own decision making, and to get educated and hopefully to be able to do what's best for you and your kids and the unborn, right? So I think with that, we'll leave it at that. We'll move on. The other big one yesterday was early election. I'll open up the floor. You guys have any thoughts? I think we covered this already. I think we were on the right track when we were trying to,
Try to decipher it.
Yeah.
Decipher what it was about. I think you talked about it was for the newly elected to be on board and understanding their position and their mandate and everything like that before they get the annual budget, right? And then for having their ideas align with the monies that they're getting and stuff like that. But I mean the election, is that called the election or nomination on the 21st, 22nd? 22nd of October. And then they're going to have the newly elected go into office on November the 5th. So, I think we heard a couple people like trying to throw out their little speeches there last night, trying to get up there. And it was, like it was eye opening that, like there's opportunity for that even at a band meeting, I mean, like I remember back in the day, old late Joe Dillon would send Anthony out there to come pick up people and come vote for my dad. But I guess everybody's got their tactics. You know what I mean? Everybody's got their tactic on that. But like the election day, I think I'm gonna stand up and I'm gonna might nominate Mitch here and see how that goes. Yeah, he's got a big fan base, so
vote for me and I'll bring KFC to
KFC.
Yeah. Yeah. So again, and we all know this, right? We're just kind of refreshing. Early election, nomination October 22nd, election November 5th. First day in office for the new leadership, I think, is November 11th, is what they said. Last night. And like we said before, like, why the early election? I think that's a big question on everybody's mind. It's something I've been hearing a lot out there. And the reason for that is positioning for our future. So changing the election cycle, the timing of the election cycle. Normally we've been having our elections in June, but this time we're having it in November. And the reason for that is to be able to allow the new leadership to be involved with budget presentations budget exercises and strategic planning for the new fiscal year, rather than inheriting the previous one from the previous leadership and then having to ride that out for a whole year and then be able to make the changes. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I think it just provides a little more strength for our people in terms of timing to be able to, put strategic planning in place and budgeting and all that, so that the cycle is smooth and we just continue growing. So I think that's the main reason for that. And do you have any thoughts on any of that?
Well, there's a lot of good points brought up last night about that, the whole process with election. There was a couple people that were saying, what was it? You had to be living on the reserve for a certain amount of time just to be on council. And there was also brought up that you had to live, I think it was either on the reserve or within a certain radius of the reserve to be on a board. And they were talking about it and saying, to be on council, right now there was currently nothing that said they had to be on the reserve to be a council member, but they were going to look into it and get more information. That's what I'm hoping to see, because I want to see exactly what is like all these election laws. There's a lot of good points brought up with those ones.
Yeah. So for more information, you can contact our Law Development Office, which is our Treaty Governance Office. 344-5011 is their number. They have all the documentation and everything. So we have questions on that. The information is out there for the viewers. So yeah, that's that. Moving on. Yada yada yada. Renovations, they were talking about that. They were talking about subdivision development. So as we all know, Molson Hill up the hill, there's 2 more subdivisions being worked on, F and G, I believe. And then after that, they're gonna have to relocate because they're getting too close to the oil developments and things like that. So with that, yeah, there is going to be a new site identified and more housing. The river property development, again, like we touched on earlier, that's up for discussion. What else do we got? Strategic planning, that was a big one yesterday. Community engagements, another big one yesterday. The leadership and senior admin, they're encouraging and advising each department to have their own community forums. Just because of band meeting, there's not enough time. There's a lot of information. So they're encouraging departments with their portfolio counselors to host their own forums. So let's say, for example, housing, to have a housing forum and to have these discussions, relay information out, but also get feedback to the program. I know housing did have so this was another point that was highlighted yesterday is programs are having forums, but attendance is really low, and the catering and the door prizes, like it costs money to host these forums, and the attendance is like an average of 10 or less for these forums. So how do you find a balance between hosting forums, hosting band meetings, and hosting spaces for feedback and criticisms and recommendations? That was a big topic that came up yesterday. So I don't know. We have to find a way, I guess, to build a bridge for healthy communication. So I think that's that.
I think that was like one of the biggest issues that was talked about was the attendance, and then again last night, like with people wanting things like this live streamed, it goes back to why not just attend? You know what I mean? It's like everybody knows that they're there. Everybody knows that they're out there. I mean, I'm sure all the departments have a Facebook page, and I'm sure probably every one of these community members that is of age to voice their own opinion has Facebook. You know what I mean? Why not get connected on Facebook when you got Facebook? So there's ways that it's I think the departments, when they reach out to the general public, there's avenues that they use that the general public probably just chooses not to pay attention to. And then it'll come down to like a band meeting or something like that, where somebody voices something um, regarding their situation that could have been resolved at a department forum. you know so it's like, I'm not saying anything about anybody, or I'm not taking sides or whatever. I'm just saying, like, like, attend these things when they're called out. um maybe it could be, if you're part of, if you want something done by a department, like, make it mandatory to go and show up and then voice your opinion, not the assumption of an opinion that somebody's needs, and then that needs are not met, and then people get angry, right?
I think one of the things that they were talking about was lack of like notifying people that don't have social media, because sometimes they don't know what's going on, because a lot of times we depend on social media to be told what's going on and when. But for those ones that don't have it, we need to find a way to kind of reach out to everyone. So if
Yeah.
anyone knows any ways that we can improve to
Well,
get
there's
this
platform,
information,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, on that note, we do have the radio station,
Yeah.
and we're in the process of upgrading it, or kind of beefing up that program. So we're hiring on a couple more staff to help with our marketing and advertising. They'll be starting middle of August. So part of the plan will be to help promote that program, the radio program, along with this program, to provide an alternative for relaying information out. We all know the radio is built or structured a little different. The mandate's a little different there. But yeah, I think that'll be another avenue for information. The targets are a little different, just in terms of World Wide Web and radio range.
Range frequencies.
Yeah, like, so
Something.
KRP, we all know 102.5 goes up to the bridge or Jumbo Hill, and then beyond that it doesn't work, right?
Yeah.
But for us here, we're on YouTube and Facebook, so we're accessible anywhere around the world. So those little differences matter,
Gotcha.
right? So we have a couple of comments here. Nathan Arias, Danse guys, morning Nate. Caroline Chief, possible transportation for the people that have a hard time to get there.
Good point.
That's a good point. I think we'll do that at the next meeting. We'll get a sign up sheet and we'll get people to sign up if they want to attend. We'll provide transportation. We'll book a van or something. It's a good idea. Okay, let's move on. So that was last night. If you weren't there, you missed out.
Tons of information.
Show up to the next one.
Yeah.
I know it's hard, but you could always follow up too with chief and council. Like they said, they're open. You could phone them, message them, and they'll provide whatever information they have to keep the community informed. So I thought we're gonna move on. Onion Lake Traditional Healing and Teaching Culture Camp. Let's get into that. So that's gonna start Tuesday, July 29, which is today. It's gonna run till August 1st. On Friday, it's at Heritage Park at the Power Grounds. What to expect: pipe ceremony, talking circle, naming ceremony, rites of passage, youth events, hunting, local elders and families invited. For more information, call Rita 639-840-0083. Ivy Hool 306-344-1433. There is a brochure, a pamphlet. It's on the Onion Lake Facebook page. If you don't want to register or you can't register online, Just show up there in person, and they'll just get you to do a sign-in sheet, I think. The vision, promoting family and healing and wellness. Mio Witzetuin, confidentiality is required for talking circles. Your children will be your responsibility. You are encouraged to clean up after yourself. Absolutely no drugs or alcohol. Monday, which was yesterday, was camping day. There was a sweat. Today is Tuesday, July 29. Pipe ceremony this morning. Breakfast at 9 a.m. 10 a.m. Gather under the arbor, camp rules, expectations, teachings, and then noon, lunch, 1 o'clock, break into groups, team colors, round up, 4 o'clock, round up under the arbor, team building and engagement, 7 o'clock p.m. tonight. There's a talent show and karaoke. It's open to the public. Yeah, go check that out. Day 3, so that's tomorrow, or no, today, actually, tonight. Talent show and karaoke. Day 3, Wednesday, July 30th, pipe ceremony, 10 a.m. You don't want to miss this one. Jimo Cheese. If you don't know who he is, check him out on YouTube. A wealth of knowledge, a knowledge keeper, an elder, really rich history, work experience, and just warrior for the treaties. He has a lot to offer, a lot to teach. If you can, make time for that tomorrow, 10 a.m. at the Power Grounds. Noon tomorrow, lunch, 1 o'clock, Jimo Cheese with the local elders. That's gonna be a good one, man. I'm excited. I'll be there for that. 7 o'clock, male female sharing circle. Day 4, Thursday, July 31st, pipe ceremony, break into groups, Cree name ceremonies, bring tobacco and cloth. The elders will be Jimo Cheese and Daffy Puyak, along with our local elders from the community here. Noon hour lunch, community feast. Everyone welcome. Bring your offerings for your family and your Tupperware, your margarine containers,
Ice cream.
ice
Buckets.
cream buckets. 1 o'clock, there's a program. 5 o'clock on Thursday, there's a mini round dance and giveaway, inviting all singers and dancers. On Friday, August 1st, day 5, 10 a.m., gathering and last talk, evaluate sharing circle. By noon, break camp. So that's that. You guys have any thoughts around that, or?
It's gonna be good, man. There's gonna be so much knowledge and so much I don't know, connections made, new maybe maybe new relationships with somebody that you could that could be a mentor to you, or somebody that you could find to help you and help you understand issues that you're possibly having. These will be like people in the community or people outside of the community, culturally based. It would be good. Like I think it's an exciting week for people that want to get grounded. I think it's going to be awesome.
Yeah. Just on a side note, just on that point, Brian, and for the listeners, you know, the whole cow and plow discussion and all this treaty stuff and assimilation, termination, and all that kind of language. The situation we're in with the government. 1969 red paper, the argument, the opposition to the 69 white paper, which was the termination of our treaty rights. There was a native group that was formed of chiefs and leaders and knowledge keepers and elders, and how they defeated the 69 white paper in the 69 red paper was they classified or identified us as citizens of this country, but citizens plus. So more than that. And we hear that term a lot, citizens plus. And what like they get into it. You'll have to research it and check it out. It's a pretty cool journey in itself, researching that, going down that path. But it's like the treaties, right? We're citizens plus, so we get what we get on top of that, what our ancestors negotiated, right? To coexist, to have the hunting and fishing and trapping and all this kind of stuff, right? Our sustenance and everything else that's tied to that. But yeah, check it out, research that, Citizens Plus. So what I was getting at, the important thing right now, the responsibility that we've inherited as the next generation, as the generation of today, no matter what age you are, part of the responsibility we all have is to I just got a comment here, threw me off. Vince LaValle, how you doing, bro? The responsibility that we all inherited, especially when it comes to things like common plow and fourth level government and things like that, is the responsibility to connect with your roots and to strengthen them and to discover who you are, where you came from as a native person, what's the history since the point of contact to now, what the evolution, what processes took place, what impacts happen. The stronger you are in that connection with your roots, I think the brighter our future looks, because you're able to rationalize what's on the table with the government or whoever, to be able to have a foundation to stand on, to be able to take positions on our understanding of the treaties, our oral understanding from our ancestors, right? And I think Onion Lake is really blessed to be where we're at, because we have Fort Pitt just down the road here. And we're on ground zero when it comes to the treaty processes that took place, and we're all descendants from that, like direct, and our relatives, it branches out, right? So, and we live in a beautiful community, a beautiful area. There's a lot to be thankful for being from Onion Lake. I think that's one of the highlights from yesterday's band meeting. There was a lot of expression in that way from our membership. The realization that we have a lot to be thankful and grateful for being from Onion Lake. There's a lot of good work going on here, a lot of good work that's been done in the past to get us to this point. And I think a lot of that credit goes to our elders, as the generations kept going, right? And even today, we're lucky to have the language. We're lucky to be strong in the language, to have that in our community. I think a lot of times we overlook that, or we don't fully realize it because it's so abundant and everywhere around us. But when you go to other communities, you'll know and recognize, or that the language is not so abundant. It's like scarce, and just because of the whole colonization and all of that, right? Genocide and stuff, the impacts were different in every community, and we're lucky to still have the strength that we do with our history and our teachings and the language and all that, right?
Oh.
So I think with that, I'm done. I don't know about you guys. Do you have any other thoughts or anything just in general?
No thoughts about anything too much, but I do remember that. Are we still on the same topic, or could I go over this one? Family services news. They have classes and groups going on, and I do believe the last one is like on September something. Here, let me go through this. Let me go over this here for you guys, the listener out there. July and August classes. Oh, August. July, August classes and groups. Napelk men's group. This is going out to all the men's, calling all men, especially dads. They want to get out and do some fun activities, hear some guest speakers, eat, make friends. You can call Josh, and this group is for you. You can call Josh to register, and they have two outings to go. They completed two outings, and they have two outings to go on August 14th and the 28th. You could register with Joshua at 344 3444. That's 344 3444. And get your name in for that one. I think they went bowling one time, and maybe they went golfing another time. And they went for supper right after bowling. I know that much. This is really good stuff that Family Services is reaching out. And this is, you don't have to be a part of the program. The Family Services, you don't have to be in their program to go out and join these groups. This is for the general public. You're in Onion Lake, you're around Onion Lake, or maybe you're from Onion Lake. Just kind of reaches out to everybody. Another group on the 14th and 18th of August. This is a topic starting with conception. And then Chastity will have more information for you with that one, where you can register with her or get the information you needed at 344-3449. Each week is a different topic. So call Chastity, and then she'll be able to elaborate more on what she's doing on August 14th and August 28th. August 11th, Chastity is also doing ribbon skirt making, and on August 13th, the same number, 344-3449, ribbon skirt making, Bannock and belonging
In the Beninging.
This is for moms and children. August 7th is Bannock and Belonging program that's going to be spearheaded by, well, I don't know what to call it there. Clarissa, whoever that is.
Musa Peo.
Musa Apil. Clarissa Musa Apil is going to have details on that one. She'll be able to let you guys know a little bit more about what Bannock and Belonging is. So I'm not going to make any assumptions, but her contact information is 344-3443. There's sweet teachings for moms and children also on August 21st. And for that one, you'll be calling Clarissa again, 344-3443. And the Bannock and Belonging goes all the way into September. That's where I seen the September date. September 4th is the last one there for Bannock and Belonging. There's berry picking in Cannon. August 19th and 20th is the next dates that they're going to have that. And then a community kitchen on August 29th. For those ones, you'll be contacting Chastity at 344-3449 and Marlene at 344-3452. So with all that information out there, I'm basically done because I gotta run. Yeah.
Oh. So you have a comment here.
Right.
I don't know about this guy sometimes. Okay, guys, we're gonna shut it down there. Vince the Valley Cup. Morning, bro. Yeah, keep tuning in, bro. Keep joining, keep commenting. Join the ride with us. Yeah, go ahead.
This is my first time on air, so bear with me. I just want to, I came on here just to show other women that not to be afraid and come and join on the air whenever they want to, or when they get asked. Um, it's okay if your voice shakes.
Yeah.
The boys are come and help you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cool
Yeah,
stuff,
I'm
man.
glad you said that because that's the truth, you know? And that was our position from the beginning. Like, we have an open door, you know? People want to join us or anything, like, you're welcome to join, especially the woman. I'm glad you're here. Hopefully you can be a doorway for other women and girls to want to have their voices heard in some form or another. The young lady here, she'll be helping us. And I think she's into technology and things like that. So, okay, I'm gonna let the cat out of the bag here. One of the goals and targets, one of the things we would like to do with this program, eventually, soon, whenever it happens, sooner the better. But we would like to get a woman's like crew, like mobile live streaming crew. We'd like to get a woman's crew going, where we teach you guys how to run the equipment and just have women kind of going off and doing their own thing. So it's woman led, woman driven, and it's all women on the camera, their voice, doing all the connections and everything. So we'd like to get that going and off the ground, and maybe the young lady here will be able to help us with that. And Bryan and Mitch are really good teachers, so that we'll be able to tell in time that they'll be able to share their knowledge with her, and hopefully get her going on her own, with us as support, of course, as always. But I think that's a plan. That's one of the long-term visions, is we want to give the woman a voice, a platform, and just have the woman kind of driving their own bus, their own initiative, and recruiting more women and empowering women and women helping women. And on the other side, the males, the men, but always an open door for collaboration, co-ed, things like that. So that's kind of part of the bigger picture and some of the goals we're walking towards. So, anything else?
That's good.
Good.
Yeah, I'm just a bit nervous though.
Yeah. 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 No, that's a good point. That's another good point, because we've all been there, you know. We all had to start somewhere, and like I was telling you earlier, like, we just started this program a year ago, and the pressure in the beginning before anything was huge. So yeah, we've all been there. It's a part of the process. Just got to keep showing up and just keep giving her. That's how we all learn. We just kind of got thrown into the fire and started winging it, and started trying to latch on to something and put all the pieces of the puzzle together, trying to understand that. Yeah, it's the best way to learn, is just to dive in head first and just start swimming. And you're in good hands with Mitch and Bryan here, so it'll be good. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be a good year and a good future for this program, I think. Good
Shit.
hands. Yeah. All right, guys, we're
Yeah.
gonna shut it down there.
Yeah.
Thanks everyone for joining us, and we wish you all a good day. Culture Camp, Power Grounds, open to the public, no cost. Take your kids. A lot of good food, a lot of good hanging out, and yeah, we'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
Hi, mustas, and have a good day, and we'll catch up again soon. Hi, get on.